Alex Ives, my dude, what is happening? Thanks for coming on the pod, man, dude. It's so good to see you.
Thank you for having me. A little wet hand.
Dude, you
water.
Can tell if you're listening on Spotify, I just tried to dap you up. And it's very telling for what we're going to talk about in the episode because it was a very athlete dap up to non-athlete dap up.
We didn't lock it up. We just dapped it and held it hard.
Yes.
Which is almost like... It's like the old knights where they they grab the arm. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like the forearm when they...
forearm,
yes,
exactly.
there's something
like
nice
manly.
about that is like another level of a manlier time where it was just, give me that forearm, give me that meat on the forearm.
No one's afraid of like their sexuality. It's like, yeah, let's just fucking give this guy a good hug, grab his forearm. Like no one was afraid about sexuality where people thought they're just like, I sleep with this guy. What do we sleep? We share the same bed. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I think like the Greeks were all just men were having sex with each other. I was talking with Connor Canning, very funny comedian, loves history.
He went to the same high school as me.
Get the really?
Yeah, he went to it. We went to boarding school. We didn't go at the same time, but he was one of the kids that basically lived in the town of the boarding school, and he was a day student.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that until I met him either. Yeah.
Get out. So wait, you guys didn't know each other?
Didn't know each other. I think he's a couple of years older than me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's also okay. That makes sense. But he told me this thing. It was like apparently there was this Greek, I don't know if it was Spartan army or whatever, ancient army where it was like. The men in the army would have sex with each other.
What's manly?
Right. But that was the mentality. It was like to like really just like it was a way to make sure that they almost like had each other's backs.
I get it, dude.
Yeah. And just for context, Alex, hilarious comedian. I love watching your act. You've done the show at the bookstore a bunch. You crush every time. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, thanks for having me,
dude. Absolutely. Today we're going to be talking about your experience as a lacrosse athlete, one of the best in the country. How it all went down.
That, Dad?
I am so excited to get into that later. But just because we're on this topic, you and I have talked a lot about, before this pod, there was a lot of like homoeroticism like in the lacrosse locker room, right?
Yeah, and it was different in terms of like, so I went to St. Joe's my first year in Philadelphia, and at St. Joe's, it's a lot of more blue collar kids. It's like Southern Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania type kids, and they weren't into like the homoerotic stuff. It was like they were very secure and they didn't want to like test the waters. But then I transferred to Colgate, and Colgate, the way they like, they recruit heavily prep school kids and like, a lot of like Connecticut, New England type kids. Those guys are flexible with their sexuality. Like, for example, like, like we would kiss each other.
Yeah, like on the mouth, right?
Just literally kiss each other on the mouth. So in the locker room, like after a game or like stuff like that, or anywhere at a party.
Wow, okay.
In class. And I think part of it is like we adopted this idea, and it was like the seniors when I was a sophomore would say this. They were like, we're the closest team in America. And I do think it was kind of a cover saying closest team in America for just being like bad team. Like,
were you guys bad or?
We were. I wouldn't say so. Colgate's like a historically good school,
right?
So, like my sophomore year, we beat a couple good teams. Like we beat Cornell, we beat some like high-ranking. We would always beat one good team. Like we beat Syracuse one year.
Okay.
But for the most part, we were below 500. And just like not like my senior year, we went 0-6. Then COVID ended the year. And I was like, wow, we really didn't win a game. But yeah, we would kiss each other all the time. And like, in all honesty, would play with like some guys would play with each other's dicks. Everyone's running around naked.
That's so fascinating because again, like, so I grew up in Garden City, which is a huge lacrosse town.
Of course.
Huge. And it's like very surprising to hear because a lot of, that was like our main sport. So it was a lot of like these like alpha jock types that would like, typically, if this was a high school movie, they would be the ones bullying the gay kids, right? So it's like, it's interesting to hear that like that was possibly going on like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like, was it like, did you feel closer through that, like with the team? Like, did it make you feel closer to the guys?
I think it did because I transferred in. So like that was, just trying to acclimate yourself and meet new people. I think part of it too is like when you get to like a level like that, it's like, it's gay if you don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, why aren't you kissing me? That's pretty gay of you.
Like if it's bothering you, that means there's something underneath.
Yes.
So yeah.
Like there were maybe like 2 kids on the team we had communal showers, and they would shower in their shorts.
Yeah.
And, those kids would get slaughtered. Those kids were the outcasts of the team. And was it, like, good? Probably not.
Yeah.
But it was just like a kind of buy-in thing. It's like almost maybe with like a fraternity where, you have to be hazed, you have to do all this stuff. For us, it was just like, how gay can you be without getting a boner?
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Did anybody like get a boner or?
Dude. So I have a picture on my phone of two of my closest friends. We're just studying in our house.
Yeah.
And one of my friends is sitting in a chair like this, and my other friend is behind him with his balls in his mouth. And there's a little chub.
Oh my God! So and these were guys on the team? Or?
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
My
These
God.
are two starters. Both work great jobs now.
That's oh my God.
Yeah, the homoeroticy was crazy.
Now, was it when they were doing this? Was there ever an air of like? Was it condescending? Like to, in other words, like, and I don't know if we can speak to this, but like if a gay person like saw that, like, would it have been like offensive? Like, were they making fun of it or no?
I don't think so. Like,
yeah,
I don't think it would be found. I think it would just be like, oh, these guys are crazy. Like, because like, I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, like, I didn't know that many gay people. It was a small school. I'm sure there were some, but I didn't know any gay people.
Yeah, yeah.
But there were issues where I was like, this doesn't have to do with the gayness of the stuff, but there was time we had this party, and one of the seniors, he had one of these like South African like classic shirts. I don't know what they're called.
Okay.
But it's like, one of these South African shirts.
Sure.
You know the idea. And I was wearing it, and this girl came up to me furious that I was wearing it at a party, and she was like, "Do you know what that is?" I was like, "It's a shirt." And then she just like, so there have been times like that where like I got killed by that girl.
Sure.
For kind of being, but never in regards to like the locker room stuff. No.
Yeah. It's just so interesting because I do think, and maybe it even goes back to like, 'cause, everyone says there's like a male loneliness like epidemic or something.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something weird where it's like we don't know what is that line with like male intimacy.
Yeah.
Right? And like here it is on the other side, right? Where it's like I think it's fair to say a lot of men would maybe be afraid to cross that line as and I'm not saying it's right, but as being perceived as gay.
Totally.
Even though it wouldn't be a big deal, but it's like here it's just so interesting to hear that other side of the spectrum where it's like you guys are physically like touching genitals and like, stuff like that.
But I think what helps is we have the cloak of being on the lacrosse team where they're like,
that is so
where they're
true.
like,
yes.
These guys, they're not gay, they play lacrosse.
Right.
But they're so like, I don't know. And honestly, I'm not saying it was like a cheat code to get girls, but like
we've talked about this, which
yeah,
I think
but like it opens it's like is it disarming? Maybe, but like there's something about it that the girls liked. Yeah.
So you would do the like homoerotic stuff in front of women.
So say for example, like you're at a party, and you're talking to a girl, and then like an upperclassman from the team walks by and he's like, "Give me a kiss." You just kiss the guy in front of the girl.
Yeah.
And I think there is something about that where they're like, oh, these guys are fun, they're playful,
yes,
they're secure.
Totally.
So yeah, I think it did help.
I have always, I totally understand like how that would be like attractive because I've always said too, I think for a lot of women, like I think a lot of women like when a man is secure and like knows himself. Mm-hmm. So like that makes total sense to me. The other thing we've talked about too, which is where I thought you were going, is we've talked too about how like in college you would just be at parties and these lacrosse guys would just go up to women and be like, I'm on the lacrosse team.
Oh,
and then they would just be all over them.
That was like one of my first jokes where it was like, yeah, getting girls in the city is tough. No one's coming up to me at bars asking if I'm on the lacrosse team. And it's true because it was just like so much of your identity is wrapped into this one thing. And to like not, when I graduated, to not have that anymore, I was like, I really have nothing that defines me.
Well, and this is actually the perfect transition to what we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, one of the top lacrosse players in the country, Dad, Mr. Ives. So can you take us through, like, when did you first get into lacrosse?
I started very young. I have to imagine it was like 7 or 8. My dad played lacrosse in college for a brief second. He wasn't as good as me. He wasn't, but my dad loved lacrosse, And I think from an early age, he could tell I loved it. So, putting me in camps and, just in my backyard every day, just going and shooting, like that was my sanctuary. Like I'm living at my parents' right now. Stuff's going really well for me, guys. But like, I just go in the backyard and shoot at my parents' house because it's like, it's such the stick is like an extension of you to some degree, where like it is a Native American sport where like the idea behind the sport is you play for the creator, which is the Native American god, and it's like they call it the medicine game because it gives you medicine. And not that I'm the most spiritual religious guy, but I do find aspects of that is like totally true, where I'm like, whenever I'm playing, like nothing else matters. I'm just like,
sure,
one,
it's
just
you're
like
completely
one with
enveloped
the
in it.
Yeah. It's like Jedi,
Well, it's funny, and it's like my athleticism is nowhere near like where yours is. I mean, like that was me with like baseball because it is something where
Yanks,
it's like
huh?
they fucking it was so
Jeter
funny.
and A-Rod killing that.
I know. For the non-sports fans, Derek Jeter and A-Rod, two legendary Yankees, just ripped apart the team on
Killed
Fox.
them.
Well, it was so funny because I just had Michelle Durante on the podcast, and she's a huge Yankee fan. So we were just talking about like how they suck so much
Sox
right now.
are streaking.
But yeah. I know. You're a huge Boston guy,
Yes.
right? So huge Boston fan. But that was for me and that's why I loved baseball. And that's why I think a lot of men like gravitate towards sports is because and women as well. I'm not trying to gender or whatever, but I'm not trying to be a dick. But
You're
I
such
think
a gentleman. It's crazy.
I'm trying to. I just don't want to be. I just don't want to offend people. It's like my worst fear. But what does that say about me? But
means you're a good man.
I'm trying. But to be that totally present in something is I think an underrated aspect of why we love sports so much.
One thing I said to my dad too about it's like I love doing comedy. Comedy's awesome,
Yeah.
but like there's nothing I'll ever do that I think I'll love as much and be as good as playing lacrosse.
Oh, that's so.
It's
it's in my heart. Yeah,
and I'm kind of secure in that answer though because like. It kind of has gotten me everything in my life, whether that was going to college or even just having the courage to do comedy and know what it takes to get good at comedy.
Sure.
Where it's just you have to do it every day. You just have to be kind of one-track mind where, like, this is what I'm doing. And I don't think it's something that I'll ever feel like I've lost because it's just, like, so ingrained in, like, kind of who I am and what it's, like, brought me. But I think that statement is so true where it's just like this is like the thing I love the most and it can only take me so far and I kind of have to be okay with it and that's kind of what out of college for like 4 years now. It's like I think I'm finally coming to grips where it's like it's gotten me this far and I can't be upset that I've lost it kind of because that's how it works.
Was that hard for you to initially come to terms with?
Oh, totally.
I bet.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, you said you started 7 or 8, you're playing travel teams, you're doing whatever. And I do want to just jump back quickly to that time in your life, right? So from like 7 to like, let's say you played through high school.
Yeah.
Right. And you were a nationally ranked player. Can you tell us like about like that experience?
It was awesome. Like it was like it was the coolest shit ever. Like having schools vie for you, having teams reach out. But what was so difficult for me was I had awful grades.
Okay.
So I had my brother, he had terrible grades. So I had an older brother, but he was like great at editing. Like he works on a podcast now. So he had like a 2.0, but he got into Syracuse. Obviously, like edited some video, whatever.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, I'll be chill. I play lacrosse. Little do you know, people do not care about lacrosse.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever it's called, the guy who runs the athletic department, he does not care about because we're not bringing any money in.
Right.
So like for a while, I would visit schools. Like I'll never forget my visit to Boston University. I go there. They didn't look at my transcript before I got there. So I'm sitting in the office with the 2 coaches and my parents, and they pull up my fucking transcript in front of me, and he literally says, he goes, "Is this really what your GPA is?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, we can't get you in, but if you want to take a tour, you can tour." I was like, "Yeah, let's do the tour." Showed me the hockey rink. I was like, "This rules." So like that was very difficult because like knowing I had the ability, but I didn't have the grades to get into places. So that's why like I ended up having to go to boarding school, which was an all-boys boarding school, and I had to repeat, which was very homoerotic there. But I had to repeat a year, so I did my junior year twice, had to get my grades up. But I guess just to go back a little, like being like, my summers were so much fun. Like I would travel. I'd probably do like 2 or 3 tournaments a week, just me and my mom driving from like New York to Maryland to Pennsylvania, just staying in hotels
Are you
together.
close to your mom?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm incredibly close with my family. And that's really the reason I live in New York still, is they live in Westchester. It's just like, not that I'm like, trying to move, but like I would probably not feel so tied down to New York if
Taylor and I say the same thing, because we have family on Long Island, and it is just, it's a really, really nice thing, because I'm close with, my family in that same way as well. It's very nice to have that as kind of like a home base.
100%. And it's just like, for me, it's like, what really matters at the end of the day, it's like my parents and my family's only going to be alive for X amount of years.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go move to fucking San Jose and like be 1,000 miles away from my family while they're alive.
Yeah, and what are you going to do there? You're going to be a Sharks fan? Like, what? No, sorry. San Jose Sharks fan. Sorry. That's their hockey team, right?
I think we should tell San Jose they have a hockey team. I'm not sure they know.
Someone let them know.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's just so important for me to be around them. And, like, I think that's when I got so close to my mom, was doing stuff like that. And like my mom would record my games, and to hear her she had no sports experience prior to me, and to, like, just her development and coming a lacrosse mom, her getting mad when
that's
and like
really
her having my
nice.
back that way. And I think for me, one thing that was so important for me was I loved lacrosse, and I played lacrosse because I loved it, but I also wanted to like make my dad very proud.
Yeah,
like I wanted to like prove to my dad, I was like, this is what I'm good at, and this is something you love.
That is such like just as another man, that is such a like innate thing for all men, where it's just like, make this man your, this person you're biologically programmed to, your role model, right?
Yeah.
Just make him as proud as you can. Yeah.
Yeah, like I idolized my dad, and my dad, he's the youngest of 4, and his father died when he was like 9 or 10.
That's hard.
And that was like really tough on him. He still talks about his dad all the time.
Yeah.
He can only remember so much. But I think for me, part of it was like, I want to give my dad what he didn't really have in this relationship.
Yeah.
And like, to play well in front of your father at like a game, because like I had plenty where I played badly and he would ream me out. Like my dad was not easy on me.
Yeah.
But I think I'm incredibly appreciative that he wasn't easy on me.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, you think that brought the best out of you?
100%. Like I remember, I have like 3 vivid moments of like, I remember I had this one bad game. We get in the car, we drive home. He doesn't say a word to me. He goes, "Go sit in the dining room. I'll be there in a second." He just walks in. He goes, "You played like a bitch. Do you want to be a bitch?" And he walked out. And like little things like that, where it was just like,
how'd you react in that moment? Like, how old were you?
I was young.
Yeah.
I was probably 9-ish.
Wow.
Yeah. My mom wasn't stoked.
I can't imagine she
No,
would
she
be.
wasn't pumped on that. But like, in all honesty, I probably did play like a bitch. Could he have phrased it differently? Sure, but like, he's a Boston older dude.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because like everyone reacts differently in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So look, maybe that was like what you needed in that moment. Like, do you think that?
Yeah, I think so, because he was so good about understanding the moment. So like, when I'm trying to get good at lacrosse, I think he knew this was something I wanted to be good at. So he was, but then I guess fast forward to college, I was a bench warmer. And I think the most embarrassing moments for me would be my parents coming to the game. Obviously, I'm not getting in. Excuse me. That was a burp for the audio folks. But we would always do tailgates after the game, where the parents bring the food, whatever, and like you got to chit chat with the other parents. And that was like the most embarrassing moments for me, where I was like, I didn't play. My parents drove 4.5, and they loved to come and not even watch me play because they were proud I was there. But like, I would I apologized to them multiple times, being like, but he never said anything about me not playing college in like a negative way. Like, he would obviously tell me like, keep working, do this and that.
Sure.
But like, there was never any, because he knew how badly I wanted to play and I just wasn't getting in. So he understood how negative I already felt about it. So he's like, I'm not going to tack on.
Yeah, he's not going
to
double down. That's really, wow. And yeah, I guess I'm just comparing it to myself, right? Because I'm on the complete opposite spectrum. I think if someone said that to me at 9 years old, I'm like very sensitive in that way. I think I would have just sort of like crawled inside. But it is nice to hear at least that. I mean, you said it perfectly, right? That your dad understood the moment.
Yeah.
So you, and I imagine it, right? And they sound like they were so proud, right? So.
They were, and like, I think everything I accomplished, I think basically everything I wanted to in lacrosse in terms of like showing my parents that like, you know, just kind of making them happy almost.
Yeah.
Obviously I wish I could have played in college, and like, in all honesty, similar to kind of what I said earlier, that'll haunt me for the rest of my life.
Well, can you take us back to like, so because we got to, you're in high school, nationally ranked, all these coaches want you, you went to BU or toured there.
Yeah.
So like where, and you said you went to St. Joe's.
St. Joe's, yeah. Right. So I committed to St. Joe's when I was a junior in high school because they were one of the only.
That must have been awesome to like know where you're going.
I was at boarding school, and I remember I had to like use my coach's like landline to call him, and I committed on the phone. I actually didn't even know I committed. It was funny like, because I was just like, yeah, I'd love to go, and he was like, sweet, and like we clicked. And then I saw my coach like 5 hours later, and he was like, did you commit today? I was like, I think, and he was like, yeah, you did.
Oh, that's so funny. And you were like okay with it, right?
Because with lacrosse recruiting, it's changed a lot since my time, but kids used to commit in like the 8th grade. So if you didn't commit by the time you were the fall of your junior year, you probably weren't going to go D1.
Yeah. That's really funny you bring that up because I remember now stories from my hometown.
I bet kids were committing so early.
Oh my God, like 5th grade. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
They put in a lot of new rules since.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, can you see it that early? Like,
kind of. Okay. So you can see if someone has like immense skill at a young age, but it's hard to tell desire, want, physicality, stuff like that at a young age. But for example, like the best player in the world right now, he went to St. Anthony's.
Okay.
He committed to Penn State when he was in the 8th grade. Then he decommitted and went to Duke.
Duke is like the lacrosse
that's
school,
like
right?
the school.
Yeah.
But like you could see in his highlights from a very young age, like this is a different type of player.
Gotcha.
So there are cases where you're like, this is unbelievably obvious.
Yeah.
But then there are obviously going to be so many misses too. But what was I talking about?
We were talking about your process going to St. Joe's.
Yeah.
Right. So you committed. You didn't know you committed over the phone.
Yeah. Didn't know I committed. But kind of the second I committed, not the second I committed, I just knew it wasn't the exact school I wanted to go to because so many schools had fallen through for me. Because like, I really wanted to go to Ohio State. I wanted to go to North Carolina. I wanted to go, but I couldn't get in. And this was the only school that would give me scholarship money, and I could actually get into the fucking school.
Right.
So then I kind of, junior through senior year, I keep getting better at lacrosse. And I remember my senior year, Princeton reached out, and my coach told my dad, he was like, Princeton reached out, but like, I don't want to tell Alex because he can't even fucking go there. So like a lot of cases like that where like I was kind of setting myself up to transfer. And that was kind of always my move. So,
So the plan was, right. So, I mean, well, first off, so your dad told you that Princeton reached out.
Yeah.
How did you feel in that moment?
I was stoked, but like I think I'm too conscious about stuff, so I was like, yeah, I can't go to fucking Princeton.
Right, because of the academic side.
Yeah, I was just like, I've taken Algebra 2 6 times now. Like, I don't think I'm getting into Princeton. But, like, there were a lot, like, I remember UNC, I almost decommitted my senior year and went there. They had a bunch of kids that decommitted, so they had, like, 3 open spots. So I went to UNC for this tournament. It was basically between me and these 2 other kids. One other kid got it. He ended up being like an All-American, so good choice. Good coach, Coach Bresci, good choice. But yeah, there were a lot of cases like that where I was like, I feel like I'm setting myself up to transfer.
Yeah.
So I get on campus. Knew the second I got there, I didn't want to be like If you ever meet my father, ask him my face on the ride to St. Joe's. Like I was just so pissed because like, I don't know what it was. I think it was kind of elitism as well on my end, where I was like, I didn't look at it like I was better than these kids, but like, for example, I mentioned it was like Southern Jersey, Eastern PA kids. And like I went to like my school, we were top 5 in the country my year. I was the most northern kid on the team living in New York.
Wow.
Besides from my insane Canadian roommate from Kamloops, British Columbia. Like I was nuts. Josh Bosher, if you're listening, you're crazy. You're a freak.
What was he crazy? He was just
he was like not socialized. He lived so he's Kamloops, British Columbia is 6 hours north of Vancouver, middle of nowhere. So I don't know how they found this kid to come to Philadelphia.
Was he a lacrosse player?
He was a lacrosse player. This kid was like 6'5", Adonis. Did not know how to talk though. And I was like, I actually feel bad for how I treated him because I was so standoffish. Just because I was so pissed about being there. And I was like, this dude's a freak. Who am I living with?
Yeah, you kind of put the judgment on it.
Yeah. Like, I remember, I feel bad about this dude, but like we would have 5 a.m. workouts and we would wake up and we would walk to the athletic center and I would put headphones in, just walk right next to him with headphones in.
Man.
And so like I was a scumbag. I feel, Josh Bosher, I'm sorry.
In your defense though, right? You were doing this every day?
I wouldn't say every day. There were times I did. I feel like we slowly got a little bit closer as the year went on. But like when I first got there, I was so bitter.
Yeah, it's also the 5 a.m. thing because, and maybe this isn't the same thing, but like one of my best friends, his older brother, love his older brother, like really really great. He's done a lot for me. I saw him like on the train, and like we're sitting down or whatever, and you're just so groggy in the morning. He said the kindest thing in the world to me. He goes, dude, if you want to just enjoy your train ride, enjoy your train ride. And I was like, that is so nice. But I obviously, I was like, no.
That's so, yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah. But I also understand what you mean where it's like you want to try. But if he's not giving you anything.
There was one of my closest friends at Colgate, so we would have 5 a.m.s there, but we would drive to the facility. And, it would be like, 8 kids pile in a car. And, the game Shotgun, or as you call Shotgun.
Yes, yeah.
5 a.m, this kid Marple, God bless him, I love John Marple. Every morning, and he has kind of a monotone voice, you would just hear, like, 20 people from the car, Shotgun. We just wanted to kill him, dude. Every morning, he was always sitting Shotgun.
Just give it up once.
Literally. Just, like, 5 a.m, just so dialed to be like, Shotgun.
It's like brushing his teeth, practicing how he's going to say it that morning.
I was like, dude, I'm not awake. I have pictures of me in the locker room at like 5 a.m. just being like, oh my, just so dead.
That's the 5 a.m.s because we did that. I was a swimmer.
Mm-hmm. You and Frank Caponegro.
Yeah.
Frank,
my God,
former
Frank.
boss.
I love Frank. Frank is doing some great travel stuff on Instagram too. Check it out. I've
seen it, dude.
Yes.
Frank's a beast.
Frank is the best.
Thank you for doing all of my work at Horizon Media. So I was about to leave Horizon. I was like, I'm gonna see how much more money I can get. He's like, they're not gonna give you that much. And I was like, he was like, what are you gonna ask for? I was like, I'm gonna ask for 85. And I was like making 60 at the time, and I was like, can I get 85? And they said, yeah. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I was like, I'm not good at this job. Yeah, I was like, I can't do the job.
You're like, no, I just want to see if you guys would do it.
I remember Frank was like, they gave it to you. I was like, believe it or not.
But we swam together in high school. And Frank was an excellent swimmer. I am not good. I was on the bench like every meet, whatever. I did it more I was one of those who did it for the exercise.
Fair.
So but 5 a.m. practices in high school were brutal, dude. And what's even harder too is like when you're a college athlete, it's your entire life.
Yes.
Like I had a buddy that played D3 ball, and that was like all he did.
Hoop?
Because it's no, baseball.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
No, we unfortunately know all my all white friends from Long Island.
Baseball guys.
Baseball guys. So now you're at St. Joe's. You're clearly not. You don't feel like this is your place.
Because they knew I wanted to leave.
Pretty. Yeah. I think, so were they just like trying to keep you at this point?
Yeah, I think my coaches had a pretty good idea I wanted to leave pretty early because a lot of kids were transferring at this point.
Okay, gotcha. So it was like a culture nobody wanted to be there, and yeah.
So it was weird.
Were you one of the top players on the team?
Yeah, I was the top recruit in our class. Maybe Tyler Maycar was ahead of me. I can't remember, but I was one. I was one like, and especially coming from the school I came from, it was good notoriety for the school to have a recruit come from like a New England boarding school.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
To be like just to develop a pipeline for that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, to get recruits from there. So I was one of the top recruits, and they wanted to keep me. But yeah, I think they kind of understood where I was coming from. Where like a lot of kids were leaving the school at this point. They've made a resurgence lately, but yeah, it was just I even remember our best player. He tore his ACL maybe 3 weeks into the year, and then right before we played our first game, we played at Duke. He took me out to dinner, and he was like, "Look, man, like we need." He was wearing a red shirt. He's like, "I need you for next year. We need you. Like you're gonna do this, that, and that." And he was like, "Tell me right now, are you gonna stay?"
Whoa!
And
he put you on the spot like that?
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'll be here.
Did you know you were lying?
Yeah,
at the
I
time?
know. I tried to transfer mid-year.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I was constantly trying to leave. So I totally lied to them because my dad he was like, don't tell anyone. He's like, you don't want to have any distraction, anyone. And I was like, everyone knows I'm leaving.
Yeah, I get that too, because it's also like your college education at stake, so it's a lot.
Yeah, because like I was majoring in communications. I had no idea. Not then I went to Colgate and was a poli-sci major. Look at me now. So it's not like I'm using that. But just to have a Colgate degree versus St. Joe's degree, not to bash on St. Joe's, that was like a pretty big.
Gotcha. So how did you get in contact with Colgate from St. Joe's?
So my last game of the year, this was before the transfer portal. So what I had to do, I waited for the season to end.
And then I think I'm familiar with the transfer portal. What is the transfer portal?
So the transfer portal now is basically anyone can put their name in it at any time, and every coach is going to get a notification that this player is in the portal. So then you can reach out to them. But it was way more restrictive at that point. So I had to wait till the season ended. Say we had our last game Saturday. Sunday morning, I'm in my coach's office. I'm like, hey, can I get my release? I want to transfer. And I remember actually being very emotional because I loved my coach at St. Joe's. He's my favorite coach I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
He was an incredible coach. And I was like, I teared up a little because I was just like, thank you guys so much for like taking me. But like, I actually do remember I even made up a lie that like my grandpa was sick or something.
Wow, just because you couldn't even, yeah.
It wasn't he had a triple bypass that was 6 months earlier. So, but then I was like, I want to be
not a lie.
Yeah,
it's not
but
a
I was
lie.
like, I want to be close to him, and he's like, where are you going? And then I go to Colgate, which is 4 hours away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to be farther from your grandpa?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, it's in the state. It's in the state.
You're like really stretching it.
No idea. I was pretending I have no idea where Colgate is, but But yeah, I get the release, and then I head to the library that day, and I email every ACC coach, every Big Ten coach, every Patriot League coach. I just emailed them all. I attached my highlight tape. And my coaches at St. Joe's, like, God bless them, they were tremendous. Like, gave me the highest marks, like, said really great things about me when I was leaving.
That's really, because I imagine, like, in some scenarios, it could go south where it's like, they're like, fuck this kid. Like, we don't even.
Yeah. There are definitely some places that can fuck you like that. But I think if you're just, like, being genuine wins always.
Yeah, I'm
so
big
like
believer in that.
if you're just like honest and just be like, look, I'm not happy here. They're not gonna be like, we're gonna
right? Because if you're not happy here, they're not gonna. And what realistically can they do to change that? Right?
And then like on top of it, what they always said is like, if you ever want to come back, you're always welcome here.
That's really which is also a smart move on their part.
Which wasn't true.
Oh no! Oh, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Which wasn't true. They didn't want me back. But
their turn to lie.
Yeah,
they're like, we looked into your grandpa.
Still alive.
Still alive. Still beaten. They're like trying to recruit him.
Yeah. They do not want my Iranian grandfather.
Are you Iranian?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
My grandfather, his name's Shahpour. He's first generation Sephardic Jew from Iran.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Dude. That's
Come on,
why
baby.
we vibe.
Yeah.
I did not realize
my
that.
mom is half Irish Catholic, half Sephardic Jew, and then my dad's
Dude.
full Ashkenazi Jew.
Wow, the Catholic and Jew, we share that,
Yeah.
my friend. Wow, it's. I'm trying to. I had a joke about that for a while, but it never worked. Which is, I always tried to. My mother's Jewish and my father's Catholic, so it's like I'm gonna kvetch if I'm stuck in traffic, but I'm gonna blame it on myself because I masturbate. Never works. So now it lives here.
Now it lives here.
Anyway, so now you get in touch with Colgate through the transfer portal.
Yes.
And did you like the coaches when they reached out?
So kind of. So my first coach at Colgate liked me a lot. He was an idiot though.
Wait, and this is your sophomore year, right?
Yeah. So I guess to rewind. So I reached out to a bunch of schools. I was originally supposed to go to BU. Like I had like a ongoing relationship with them for a while. We're like, I can't get in, but they want you. Can't get in, but they want you. So I got a 4.0 my freshman year at St. Joe's. I cheated a lot, but I did get it.
Everyone cheats at college.
Yeah, dude,
it's really.
Well, I was communications, and my mom's she's a professional graphic designer. So I was like, here you go. So she did a lot of work for me. But yeah, I got a 4.0, so I kind of had pick of the litter of where I could go at that point.
I'm sorry. Wait. So, I'm sorry, I missed that. So 4.0
at St. Joe's.
At St. Joe's. Wow.
Yeah.
So you really turned it around.
I didn't party at all. I didn't do anything.
And it was because you're motivated. You're like, I want to get out of here. So
yeah, I was like, I have to get out of here. Bar none, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got really good grades, and then it was really cool, like being wanted by so many schools, because a transfer is really good for a lot of programs. Because like, okay, this guy has 1 year under his belt, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's, add this to however many incoming freshmen we have. It helps to have some sort of, transfers are good for the most part, is kind of what I'm saying. But yeah, I was supposed to go to BU. And my brother was graduating from Syracuse. So I was talking to the Colgate coach. I was like, yeah, we'll stop on the way back for my brother's graduation. Stopped there and immediately fell in love with it.
Wow.
It reminded me of boarding school, where it's just like middle of nowhere. You know what sells me on schools? A cool hockey rink. All right. If you have a cool hockey rink, I'm fucking going. Like it's the coolest hockey rink I've ever. Like, same thing where I went to boarding. So I walk in, I'm like, fucking hockey rink? This is sick. So like they had a sick hockey rink. I was like, I don't even like hockey. But I was like, I feel like this is indicative of the whole
like
school
the athletic program.
Yeah, I was like, this is fabulous.
And you're like, what do they do for the lacrosse guys if they do this?
Dude, that was the thing. Like the Colgate had just got a new facility. It was like an NFL level locker
room.
Oh,
that's really nice.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
Did they have like ice baths and stuff for you to get to? That's so nice.
Ice bath, hot bath. Yeah, dude, I would get my ankles taped every day. I had bad ankles, and I felt we would have student trainers, and I notoriously don't have nice looking feet. I had
You don't?
I got hairy feet with long nails.
Oh, you want to show them on camera?
I actually cut my nails recently. I was at my girlfriend's parents.
Good for you. Oh wait, you cut your nails at your girlfriend's parents?
They were so gnarly. I was like, I gotta cut these.
That's what every father dreams of. That is.
Yeah, like, what's Alex doing on the porch? He's like, he's using your clippers. But yeah, I had student trainers that would pay me to cut my toenails. Oh
wow, that is.
But yeah, it was just like so cool. And whatever. The second I left, I was like, I know I want to be here.
Gotcha.
So I called up BU and made up a lie. I was like, they're giving me more scholarship money. They're like, you didn't even ask us if you wanted more scholarship money. I was like, yeah.
Did you give them verbal commitment?
I had verbaled, I think, basically maybe 2 days after I left Colgate. I did verbal to BU.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I did.
Man.
I did technically verbal there. They were pissed. He hung up on me.
I bet. Yeah.
But the BU coach, he cheated on his wife with an athletic trainer. So I don't.
Oh wow, that's okay.
Ryan Poley, scumbag.
Wow, Mrs. Poley.
Mrs. Poley. God bless you if you're still around, Mrs. Poley.
Oh man!
So yeah, it didn't feel too bad.
You're like the reason he cheated on his wife.
Yeah, that's funny.
This recruit,
God, the St. Joe's guy, he keeps fucking me. I gotta go find this athletic trainer to cheat on my wife.
I keep getting fucked. I'm
yeah,
just gonna
literally.
Pay it forward.
But yeah, my coach at Colgate, he was an idiot.
Okay, so you get their sophomore year.
Sophomore year. Yeah. So excited to be there. Immediately meshed with all the guys, because one of the reasons I didn't transfer to BU, part of it being a city school, was if I had transferred to BU, I would have went into a transfer dorm. Versus at Colgate, because it's a school like 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Versus at Colgate, it's a school of 3,000 people where I would move in. We had a townhouse of 18 guys in it. I just moved in. One guy had transferred out of Colgate. I get his bed.
And it's the lacrosse team.
It's everyone.
Dude, that's
everyone in my grade
yeah.
on the lacrosse
that's
team.
Best case scenario.
Dude, it was epic.
Yeah.
It was just these. It was like there were 18 townhouses, all identical, just lined up with no supervision at all. So much fun.
So you're like amped when you get there.
Amped. Like it was my freshman fall. That's what like a lot of guys, because when I got to Colgate, I've usually always been pretty introverted, but I was like, I have to like push myself here because I have to get these guys to basically like me.
Yeah.
And I realized quickly what works is being the dumbest guy at the party.
That's interesting.
Being the dumbest and drunkest works.
So in other words, like to get guys to like you.
Yeah, they're like,
wow.
oh, how many beers will he? So like, I get there, pour beers on your head, get fucked up.
And you didn't party at all the previous
didn't
year.
party really at all.
So
no.
like at this point, like had you ever drank this much or?
Yeah, I would drink a little. Like I was probably drinking. I was drinking in high school a good amount. Okay. I was never. I'm more of. I've always gotten high. I'm not that big
we'll
of
talk
a drinker.
about because that comes a little bit later. Yeah.
And that was one thing about Colgate. They didn't drug test. St. Joe's I didn't smoke at all. Colgate I smoked a ton, and that we can talk about that. But that's kind of how I started deteriorating.
Right.
But yeah, just like being dumb worked, and like that was actually advice I got from a senior. He goes, "You want advice to getting laid? Be the drunkest guy at the party." It's not. It was good. I have to say, Liam Anderson, good advice. Like it was actually good advice. I swear to God. Because you're just having the most fun. People just want to be around fun, especially college girls. They just want to be around some guy having a good time. So like whatever. The fall of my sophomore year, I'm just like having a blast, kind of forcing myself to have a blast. Then I got a girlfriend maybe like...
Wait. That's so interesting is that forcing yourself to have a blast.
Yeah.
So in other words, like you're going, and it's like you don't always want to be the drunkest, but like you're doing it because you want these people to like you.
Exactly. I was like, I just have to fit in. Like,
wow.
As much as I love my friends and they were so welcoming and like awesome, like I was like, this is a two-way street. Like I have to, I can't come in and be
relate to that.
Yeah.
I really do, because I used to hang out with a group, my college friends actually, that we don't really hang out anymore, but it was always like, you got to get drunk, and like, you would just feel the pressure because like you don't want to disappoint people.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That would happen to me especially post-grad a ton.
Yeah.
But that's one thing they would always say, we want what would they call me? We want sophomore fall Ives back. Something like that is what they kept saying.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when you used to be fun. I get that.
But I get their angle of it too, where they're like, you were a lot more fun. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not that fun.
Dude,
now.
I say it all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Because I'm so fucking boring now.
Yeah.
Like I literally, Taylor and I just
anything.
order food and like hang out with the dog. But like it works for us, obviously. But like, I just get it on a level that's like,
it's
so
tough
deep.
to So my roommate, who's my best friend, he just moved out. Whatever. We would hang out together at our apartment all the time. But my other closest friend in the city, my friend Cooper, he just left the city. He's like going back to Detroit to like work with his father's business. But one of the reasons like he left so soon, he was like, I don't see you that much anymore. And like I knew I wasn't seeing him as much, and it was just really, it's sad because I was just like we talk all day, like we text, send each other memes, but like. Between doing comedy, I was fucking living in Red Hook, which was so far. I was just like, it gets to 9 o'clock. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. It's like, and also having a girlfriend, it's like, I'm not going to bars and like trying to get fucked up.
Yeah, dude. No, and it is sad because especially with like what we're doing and pursuing, it takes all of you.
It takes everything.
It takes everything, and unfortunately, my fiance is like the brunt of that because like
exactly.
she'll joke all the time. She'll be like, "All you do is work," and it's like I fucking know, and I feel terrible.
It's all the time.
I just saw my friend at a wedding I went to, my best friend growing up, and he's like, "What are we not friends anymore?" Like just casually, it's his way, dude. You feel like a piece of shit.
It's so like we're just doing such different things. It doesn't
and it's because it has nothing to do with the relationship. Yeah.
Because like think about it. It's like before I was dating my girlfriend, say it was like a Friday night or whatever, go do an open mic, and then 8 o'clock I'll drag myself to go to my friend's apartment, and they're jazzed up, like they've been drinking all day. I get there, I'm like, I'm gassed, I haven't eaten
you're exhausted,
all day.
and then on top of that, you're gonna feel guilty because you're like, I'm not doing spots.
Exactly. Then it's like, okay, what am I doing here? I'm not doing comedy. It's like I don't even enjoy going out.
Isn't that is literally when you're pursuing comedy and you're not doing comedy, you're like, what am I doing?
It is nice going to my parents, because when I go to my parents, I completely totally out of my mind.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just like, it really was hard juggling all these friendships that I don't want to say I was outgrowing friendships, but I was outgrowing the activities that kind of kept the friendships together.
100%.
Yeah. Because like and my friends knew I didn't love to drink that much to begin with. They knew I kind of just like to get high and chill out and just shoot the shit. But they, they loved going out and stuff, and, power to them, but I just didn't love to do that as much. And I feel bad because it has taken away from friendships. Like I'm still unbelievably close to these, like my closest friends for life, but like I just don't see them as much anymore, and it does suck.
Yeah, and it's like it's a double. Well, it's nice, right? In that you do meet new friends and stuff like that in comedy, and it makes sense that you would get closer to them because there's an understanding there mutually. Mm-hmm. Like for example, like I don't think I've seen you in like a few months. Yeah. But like nothing's changed because I know you're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. So it's like at least we understand that.
Did you have this issue with comedy that maybe not? I think it might just be me, but like I was so close with my friend group that I think I had hesitancy to form close relationships with other comedians. I'm like, yeah, you guys are nice, we do comedy and all, but like I have my friends.
Yes, I relate to that a lot. Yeah. Especially, I have an interesting situation because I won't tell the whole story. I will tell it eventually, but I like always like prep this story. I basically I was very close with my college friends. They're the reason I moved to Hoboken and actually why I met Taylor, which is why I'll always be grateful for them. But like we had a trip to Nashville that was a fucking disaster. Long story short is like the guy we went for his birthday, he ended up drunk on the side of like the road in Nashville with like some bachelorette party. Meanwhile, his girlfriend, now wife, is like they're like whatever. someone else got thrown out of a bar for calling a girl fat, and like, you know, whatever. Someone pulled a knife on someone during this trip. It was the most insane weekend of my life. And I got back and I was like, I don't want to be fucking doing this.
It's a lot.
You know what I mean? Especially with now, I had just started doing comedy again after taking a break. So I was like, I don't have space for this. But to your point, it's like the other thing with it wasn't so much that I was like, I don't need you guys, comedians, like, because I have my friends over here. But I will say, I think it was that I didn't feel the need to maybe develop those relationships because I was like, in other words, to your point, I have friends over here.
Yeah.
But now that, you know, I'm starting to really develop those relationships, and they take time, right? It always takes time, which is the thing I come back to. But because I really just started making like my comedy friends maybe in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But now that those relationships are starting to like bloom and develop, you know, it's great. It's the best.
Yeah, I think in some ways it felt a little bit almost like cheating, where I was like,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But then the more you look into it, if you look at because all my friends are like, they love their jobs, you know, they go to they all have work friends. I'm like, okay, well, I have these friends, but like, you know, they have XYZ friends from work, from this other friend that they all kind of had other groups of friends they were close with. But I do feel particularly bad from my friend Cooper, who I'm unbelievably close with, just because like I knew I was his closest friend as well.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking on that end. Yeah.
So he always kind of had plans to leave the city. I think it was a little bit fast tracked due to the fact that I just wasn't around as much.
Yeah. And this happened recently, right?
He moved out. It's August something. He moved out mid-July. Yeah.
Okay. And how have you been like dealing with it?
It sucked. I think I felt super lost for a while because, like, you know, I work a fucking shit job.
Yeah.
I'm trying comedy. And, like, you know, it's compare to spare, I think is the best way to look at it. Like, you can't compare yourself to these guys. But, like, I was like, okay, my two closest friends are leaving the city. I have these guys left, but I don't see them as much anymore. I was like, what am I doing? And, like, you know, and I think for, like, a month period, I was, like, super upset and kind of lost. But I think it was just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off, like, which was a really hard part, where it's just like, you know, kind of just living in purgatory, where it's like, okay, they're gonna leave, and then when they finally leave, you're like, okay, I'll be fine. But just the anticipation of it all happening and trying to do your best to soak it all in, I think that was the hardest part of it.
And it's also in a way like kind of the end of an era, right?
Exactly. It's like it's such an obvious chapter. Like, my roommate's moving to Charleston with his girlfriend. They have a dog now.
Yeah.
And he even said that to me. He was like, one of our friends was having a going away party. He brought his girlfriend and the dog. He was like, I feel like that was important for me because, like, I'm kind of combining what my future is with what my past is. He was like, you know, showing the two sides each other. So yeah, it's just like such an obvious chapter turning where, like, whatever post-college bubble you're kind of still living in is kind of getting popped.
Yeah, and that post-college bubble is, because I think you and I are similar in that way, where it's like there's a few years after college where you're really figuring it out. And because I remember in my mind, there's a distinctive period, right? I would say it's probably where I'm like 22 to 26, where I really look back and I'm just like, I felt really lost compared to where I'm at now.
Totally.
And that's hard, especially like because part of that bubble popping, right, is these people leaving
your life.
And it's inevitable because people are just moving on. They're doing their thing.
Want a good Steve Harvey quote?
I would love it. Always, this podcast loves the Steve Harvey quote.
For all the Steve Harvey fans, this is a good one. Maybe you'll know it.
By the way, a lot of overlap between this podcast and Steve Harvey fans.
A lot of life talk. But Steve Harvey had this quote, and I don't know if it's his, but he was like, when a rocket launches off into space, the other rockets are falling off.
Yeah.
But you can't feel bad for the other rockets that are falling off because they got you to where you need to be now.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's Steve Harvey, folks.
That's
Family Feud.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a little plug. Plugging Steve Harvey, who I don't watch.
Well, so, yeah, literally me neither. The only thing I see with Steve Harvey now is just like those innuendo clips on like Family Feud. Where
or him on a podcast with like a top hat. Have you seen these? He's always on a podcast talking about God.
He's absurd.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just absurd. I just saw that there's a Family Feud clip where he's like, name something your wife tells you to leave, and the guy goes, it in.
Good job.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve. No, that's a really great quote. So now, okay, but Cooper was your roommate, right?
My roommate, his name was Nick Piselli.
Nick
We call him
Piselli.
Piss.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love that we're naming names.
Yeah.
No. So
in case they watch.
Wait,
yeah.
his nickname was Piss?
So funny. His nick, and he's a Southern guy, so like everyone in college, like be at the field, be like, "Come on now, Piss." But he's like one of the sweetest people.
Sure,
he's like a brother, like sweetest guy. And
Yeah.
then Cooper was like, they're probably like ties for closest friends.
So but you met them both at Colgate.
At Colgate, both
Yeah.
my roommate who just moved out, Piss. I've been roommates with him since I was a sophomore in college.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so perfect. And so now you're meeting all these people the first time back, right? We're back sophomore year at Colgate. And were you starting on the team? Because you were starting in St. Joe's, right?
I was second line midi at St.
Okay.
Joe. So how that works is like, when you play a lacrosse game, 3 attackmen, 3 midi, 3 defensemen, and the attackmen and the defense stay on the whole game, and then the middies, they run the full field. So they're
Gotcha. So they'll be
it's
subbed out.
It's like hockey for
Gotcha.
for
So you
those
weren't
guys.
starting, but you were getting playing time.
I was getting playing time at St. Joe's, and it felt like at St. Joe's it was progressing for me to start my sophomore year. But I get to Colgate, and there were a ton of good middies on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, and I was like, I had a really good maybe first 2 months, and I was second line midi, closing in on first line. And then I had a couple really bad practices in the winter, and I came back from Christmas break, and I was like a third line midi. And then basically only the first 2 lines play.
What do you think was the reason that you had bad practices?
We were playing indoors with tennis balls and like these really tight drills.
Yeah.
And my game, I was like very reliant on speed and shooting it.
Okay.
Versus we were doing like 2-man game and I was just had fucking like 2 to 4 really awful practices in a row. One thing for me too, this is obviously getting a little too into the minutia of lacrosse, but my wind up was too long. So like I would
to shoot.
Yeah, to shoot. So like say I catch the ball, I would crow hop, bring the stick back. It probably took like maybe a second to like a second and a half when it should be taking like half a second to like less than a second.
And is the reason for that because a defender can get in front of you, or someone
Yeah.
can like knock the ball out of your?
So just giving the goalie time to react, being able to have someone close out to you,
Okay.
sticks in the way, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so like it took too long, despite having a good, like your shot can be the greatest thing ever, but if it takes longer than X amount of time to get it off, it doesn't really matter that much.
Gotcha.
So I think that was a big factor into me not getting playing time. And then like I still tried really hard. I was smoking and stuff, but like it wasn't too bad.
So you had like started to smoke weed. Like,
Yeah.
was it from the partying and stuff? Like you wanted
No,
to
I always liked weed. I didn't really smoke it as religiously until I got to Colgate because there was like a bad culture on the lacrosse teams in terms of partying and getting fucked up and like buying into that and smoking aspect as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think the weed and stuff started to weigh on me until my junior year. So I guess fast forward to my junior year, the coach that brought me in, he got fired.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So whole new staff comes in. So then basically what I worked on that whole summer was to get my shot off faster. And I had gotten in a really good spot. New coaches come in and their whole idea is like, let's reset the culture.
Right.
Let's change everything that was good. Because we've been a bad program, whatever. And I had like a great first 2 weeks. But from the coach's perspective, they're like, this is a junior who hasn't really played. If you don't play by your junior year, for the most part, you're not going to get playing time because they're just bringing in a new class of guys.
Right. They want to develop those.
Yeah.
guys.
So that was their focus, was to develop on younger. So I had a great 2 weeks. Check the depth chart in the locker room. Maybe a month in, I'm like third line midi. So I was like, okay, I'm not fucking. I was like, obviously, I knew the coaches didn't like me that much. And I think from then it kind of started to spiral out a little bit. I hate the way I looked at it then, because I was just like, well, what's the fucking point kind of thing. Where I was,
right, because if they're not going to put their time and energy into you, it's like, why are you going to...
Yeah, like I knew I was fucked. We scrimmaged. I can't remember who we scrimmaged in a fall game, but like I had a couple really good. I had a really good feed. A feed is a pass. Guy on the crease like pinpointed into his stick. He just misses the shot. And I was watching film with my coach, and he shows me that clip. He goes, "Do you think that's a good pass?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "It's not." He's like, 5 times out of 10 that's getting knocked down. I was like, yeah, that time it fucking didn't.
Yeah,
so like he's taking good plays away from me. So I was like, okay, fuck
that's
this.
hard too, because there's a level there of like, just instinct in that moment that you have where you can probably tell being on the field that it's going to work. But
yeah. If you watch it back, it's like, sure, it was a tight window, but like, why are you
but
taking
but you
this
were
good
on the
play
field
away?
and you can like, you're like, I can make that play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what was tough on that too was our offensive coordinator. He was like almost a childhood hero to me. He had just graduated from Hopkins. He was a great midi, and like I always looked up to this guy. Then this guy didn't like me
because of the new coach.
No, so he was the new coach. He was yeah, we got our head coach was this guy from Notre Dame, and then we got an assistant coach who had maybe 2 years just graduated from Johns Hopkins, which is a great lacrosse school. And I had watched this guy my whole childhood, and I was like, oh, John Crawley. I was like, John Crawley's going to be my coach. This is sick. Then he gets there and he fucking hates me, and I didn't like him either.
That's
so then
really
it's like
hard,
meet your heroes kind of thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
But yeah, then from there I kind of started to spiral a little bit.
Well, yeah, because I just feel like too. I want to, because you must have mentally been like just so disappointed and like.
Because like the things I've worked on obviously don't matter anymore.
Right, and it's because. I imagine too, like because you spent the summer working on that shot, right?
Like pretty. Like when I practiced, there was nothing I like practiced more to be excellent at than lacrosse. So like I would go shoot for like 2 or 3 hours in the morning. Yeah. Go on an 8-mile run.
Right.
Shoot in the afternoon. Constantly working on like little minutia things to get better. And then for I did become much better that summer. But it really amounted to nothing just because I didn't have the coaches really on my side.
Right. And then, it's through like external factors of just, right? So, I mean, when you put all that time and energy into something, right, you must have been crushed.
I was pretty devastated. I think I have to take responsibility on some things, though. Like one thing I was notorious for, I hated lifting. Like I refused to lift.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because like, do you ever see Friday Night Lights, the movie?
Not the movie. I love the show though.
There's a line in the movie where the guy Boobie Miles, who's like the all-star running back, the quarterback, Mike Winchell goes, "Boobie, you didn't lift." He goes, "I don't need a lift. It's God-given." And like it's silly, but like that's kind of how in my head I was like, I'm a skill guy. I was born with a stick in my hand.
Sure, too. Yeah. It's also like I don't know, because again, I'm not. I haven't played in organized sports to the extent you have, right? But I do imagine it's like when you are relying on those skills like speed, like agility and quickness, it's not necessarily, I mean, of course it can be enhanced by lifting, but to your point, it's like if you're out there shooting and like actually working on that stuff, it seems like,
I
not
thought
to say
that
that lifting's
enough.
not important, but
it definitely was. Like it was also important from a mental standpoint because like I remember playing Duke my freshman. There's a picture of me dodging on this Duke kid, and I got skinny ass legs, and you look at the kid's legs guarding me, you're like, holy fuck. It's like 3 of my legs put together.
But you deeped him, like...
Dude, I was so nervous my first game at Duke. I remember my first game ever, I scrimmaged at Army with St. Joe's. And really cold day in February in Michi Stadium, which is the Army football stadium. And our coach brings in, he goes, "Alex Ives, hometown kid, coming back to New York, let's get it." And I'm like, okay. First dodge of the game. Dodge like I don't dodge hard, I just dodge, move the ball. Come off the field, my coach is like, "Why are you dodging like a pussy? Like put your shoulder in." I was like, all right.
Sure.
Fast forward to second quarter, I'm dodging on this guy. I kind of, like this to my left hand, put my shoulder down to this guy. He picks me up off my feet and like literally threw me like 2 yards.
Yeah.
Like totally concussed after that, but like I remember in the tunnel talking to my mom after the game. I was like, "I can't hear you." I was like,
no.
Just like ears buzzing.
Damn, I thought this was going to be like you deked him. Or
no, he leveled me.
That's tough.
Yeah. So like it is important to like.
But you were a freshman, right?
I was a freshman against
so,
a fucking guy who's being trained to kill someone.
Yeah.
I'm like this depressed freshman who doesn't want to be at St. Joe's getting lifted off my feet by a trained killer. Yeah, playing against Army and Navy, I was like, these guys are like, they're killing people.
Yeah,
I was like,
they're in. Yeah,
yeah, these guys are in good shape. They were scary. But yeah, like I definitely should have put more time into getting stronger. And lifting.
And then when did you hear the news about the new coach? Because if you're practicing over the summer working on your shot,
it was pretty. I would say like let's say June. So everyone was kind of expecting him to get fired. They were like he had a lot of weird things going on with the school, and a lot of people didn't like him. And
this one wasn't cheating on his wife, which
no,
is nice.
He wasn't. He was a lunatic. Like I'm like, the more I kind of look back on it, like there was this one kid my sophomore year. He was a senior goalie who was terrible, awful goalie. He shouldn't have been on the team, but for some reason he thought he should get playing time. as everyone does.
Sure.
But like he goes into the coach's office and the coach hated him. And he treated him unfairly, but like this one line like kept getting used against our coach where he told this kid, he recorded it. He told this kid, he was like, if I had the choice between taking a bullet in the head or putting you in net, I'm going to take the bullet in the head every time.
Oh my God.
So he had stuff like that he was saying that got him in trouble.
Yeah, that's
God. Yeah. So like people were stoked when he got fired. He was like he had coached the Army before. He was like a military type guy.
That makes sense. Yeah. So it's like that kind of style.
So they got rid of him and brought in this cool young. Our new coach looks like Matthew McConaughey. Carwick is hot. He's a hot, charismatic dude.
You're like, let's get him in the homoerotic stuff in the locker
room.
Dude,
no, everyone's like, dude, this guy's hot. It's a hot coach. But, maybe in like June we found that out. But then I was still working because I was still positive going in. I was like, okay, well, maybe they'll look at this from the perspective as, okay, he was a transfer. Maybe he does have stuff to offer. But, yeah, obviously it didn't really totally pan out. And then I was just really negative. I guess one thing, too, that happened was I was an offensive midi. Like, my whole game was offense. But we were scrimmaging Albany this one time, and I'm running back on defense, and I leveled this kid. Like, picked him up off his feet, got him really good. And our coach was like, maybe would you want to play D-midi? D-midi is where you just play defense and you run off, O-midi goes on. And I was like, no, I'm an O-midi. I'm not going to do that.
This is the new coach that asked you? Okay.
This is the new coach, maybe like December of my junior year. Fast forward 2 months, I get a drinking citation just carrying an open container. And so I go to appeal that in court or whatever, pay whatever fine. And I get to court. And they go, your name's Alex Ives? I was like, yeah. They go, there's a outstanding warrant for your arrest in Casanova, New York.
What?
I was like, really? So this is a very stupid story. So I was with my girlfriend in her car, driving through Casanova, New York, got a speeding ticket.
Okay.
That was in like July of 2017, June 2017. I never pay it.
Oh,
I was like, this is connected to her car. Like they're never gonna, they're never gonna find me. just out of my mind. Never paid it, and that became a big thing because I had to appear in court the same day we had a game. I was able to eventually go to the game, but my coach was like, either you play D-midi, or I don't think he explicitly said I would get cut, but he was like, he was like, you're really teetering right now. So I was like, fine, I'll play D-midi. And I ended up being okay at it, and I played a little bit my junior year, not too much, but kind of the idea was progress, and in next fall you'll be our starting D-midi as a senior.
Okay.
Progress over the summer, whatever, get pretty good, and then when I come back to school, they change their whole philosophy on middies. They say everyone's playing two ways, so D-middies just don't even exist anymore. So then I wasted 8 months doing the thing I love the most, not playing offense, just having to play defense, and then they take that away, and then that's when I really started to spiral. I was like, this is all fucking bullshit.
Yeah, because it's and I mean, did you ever talk with your coach about like that time you had put in?
I remember because we were going to scrimmage Notre Dame, and I was like, hey, I don't understand what we're doing.
Right.
Am I playing offense? Am I playing defense? He's like, you're playing two-way. I was like, okay, but you said I was a D-midi. Whatever. It just didn't work out. And luckily, I was able to turn it around at the end of my senior year where I was just like, fuck it. I'm not playing D-midi. These last couple months I have doing the thing I love the most, I'm just going to have fun. So kids that don't play are on scout team. Scout team, you basically scout the other team that you're going to play.
Yeah. And
I was like, I'm playing scout team attack and just having as much fun as I could possibly have. And I totally like reconnected with the game.
Wow.
And like had the most fun I had playing in probably like 2 years, just like, just having fun, not playing like nervous and not being. I think one thing too, to go off track of that, one thing that really fucked me up with lacrosse, and I try to stay away from it with comedy, is comparing yourself to other people.
Dude, that's
like,
yeah.
Because we had so many kids on the team, top 10 recruit, top 30 recruit, and I'd be, or even just looking at a scouting report for another team, it's like, oh shit, they have this guy, he's going there, and just getting in your head about that, or deferring to guys subconsciously on the field.
That's especially so prevalent in comedy now because
So
there's
much.
never been this many comedians.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been this many at whatever first name last name comedy, and I say that as someone who's at Man Panic Comedy on social media, and it's just you can't. you have to put blinders on, and because you won't survive. You will just talk yourself out of it. And
you just become so negative about stuff. You're like, oh, how am I going to go against this guy? He's so good. It's like, he's going to this. But it just ruined me in college somehow. And I was never like that prior to going. And I don't know what it was about Colgate, but it just like kind of changed the way I looked at things.
Yeah, it seems like it was a situation too where it was just, unfortunately, when there's any sort of like regime change like that, and especially in a case where they seem to have, I'll give them benefit of the doubt and I'll say they changed strategy.
Yeah.
You just got caught in like a bad...
I got caught the way it's like someone had, like, so they just won the Patriot League tournament last year. They had a great team. So it's like some team basically had to go 0-6 for that to happen.
And you just had
and I kind of had to take the bullet, I guess, which sucks because, it's like I worked my whole life to get there.
Right.
Then I don't get to see it.
And then so you were like... Before you were on the scout team and like having that much fun, because we've talked a little bit about off camera, like you were smoking weed like every day. And
I was definitely out of control. I was like taking a lot of Xanax. We would do this thing in college. It's called a chop, where you put weed and tobacco in a bong. You take it, and it basically just nukes you, like you're paralyzed for a couple seconds. And I was just doing that all the time.
Yeah.
And I was just always tired and like ruined my relationship with my girlfriend. Not my girlfriend and I didn't like each other that much. It was a college relationship, but like whatever was there ruined that because I was just stoned all the time. And I was just so negative. I was like listening to emo rap. Like I was always listening to Lil Peep and stuff.
Did you know that it was coming from the lacrosse stuff at the time?
I think it had to have. I think so.
Or were you just like, I need to like be numb right now?
I think some of it was, I'm in college, let's have fun, and try to mask it with that.
Yeah.
But I think it was probably to like numb how pissed off I was about the lacrosse stuff.
Right.
And I hate how I looked at the end of my lacrosse career, because looking back, I was like, I remember being at practices or being in games and being like, this is difficult right now for me to look at this, because in 3 months, none of these skills matter for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's...
And now looking back, I'm like, why the hell was I looking at it that way? I should have just enjoyed playing it and doing it. And I think in the last couple of months, I was able to do that when I was just playing scout and just having fun with my friends.
And take it back to like, because one thing you said that's so interesting at the beginning of the podcast is that they call it the medicine game, right? For Native Americans. So like you were able to reconnect with that healing aspect.
Yeah, totally. Like it really saved me a lot. And like, I'll never scratch that itch. Like I still play men's league. I still have so much fun doing it. And it's just like, I'll just never enjoy something as much as I enjoy playing lacrosse. Yeah. Comedy has been a great, like, Indiana Jones, like, rock switch.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, a different type of experience that it gave me.
It's totally different. In, like, the biggest thing, too, is, like, the physicality of it, right? Because there's so many parallels between comedy and, athletics, like we were talking about. But, like, one thing I find is that, the great thing about athletics is, like, physically, you are moving and like you're getting endorphins and stuff when you're working out, and it's like, physiologically very good. With stand-up, it's a lot of being seated, writing.
Yeah.
And when you're active on stage and stuff, but you're really like, you're so focused on the performance and stuff like that. So it's, but
stand-up's killed my body.
Yeah,
I'm in the
me
worst
too,
shape of
man.
I'm so unhealthy lately. Just eat like shit. Like
dude, I feel that
stand
a lot.
Up 15. Yeah.
The stand up 50. Stand up 40, man.
It really does. It's just I recognize now how grateful I was to be able to go to the cafeteria and eat 20 tacos.
Dude, that's like all of college,
and then just
man.
burn it off. Yeah.
Dude, my campus was like, it was like a 1.5 mile long, all hills. And like, I would look at my phone, 20,000 steps today. That's low.
You're killing it.
And I'm just like, oh my God, like to be in the best shape ever.
It's too bad. Yeah.
So I'm just really happy to hear that, like, and I don't know, there's like something really beautiful in that when the stakes were taken away, right? When you were at the end of the road to be like, I'm not starting anymore senior year, to go back to the scouts team and to just really have fun with it.
Yeah, it was so necessary for me to just be able to leave lacrosse at least having fun. Like I wanted that.
Yeah.
And I remember, dude, I would like my coach who had come in, the guy from Notre Dame, he didn't play me, but he liked me because he's like, he's a big spirituality kind of guy. Like,
which by the way, can I say, not to interrupt you, I think is such an important element for coaches to have in their styles.
Mm-hmm.
I hear so many of these guys, like, they're just hard asses or whatever. Like, to bring it back, that's why I loved it. Have you seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, like, when Phil Jackson comes in and he's like, we are one, we are together. Like, I don't know. That's so important.
To show that you're a person and, like,
dude, exactly.
to have humanity.
Like, you're people at the end of the day. That's what your players are, you know?
Like, my coach didn't play me, but I still like him a lot. Like, my parents hated him because he didn't play me.
Yeah, that's...
But, like, I liked him. And I remember we played, my senior year, we went to Jacksonville. Scrimmage Jacksonville, and then on the flight back, it was a Southwest flight, so you could sit wherever you want.
Oh yeah.
So
they took that away.
Did they take that away?
They did. You can't do it anymore.
I don't know what. It's like, just be shitty. It's like, you're like you guys are shit. Just be shit.
Do what you're good at.
Yeah,
that is
like
your
people were flying Southwest because they could sit where the fuck they want, not because you guys are killing it with customer service. But I'm in the Jacksonville International Airport. I was really close with one of the backup goalies. Backup goalies are never top shelf. All right, these are usually
really? Okay.
These are usually burnouts.
Okay.
Nate, sorry, but my boy Nate.
So many name drops this up. I love it.
Name drop and look at the camera.
We'll just insert a photo of him too on YouTube.
But he had a bunch of Xanax, and so we were taking Xanax right after the game, and then we get to the airport, and my boy comes up to me. He's like, yo, I got like this deal with the bartender where he's gonna make me drinks and put it in styrofoam cups with a sippy.
Oh boy.
So I took a bunch of Xanax and I was drinking like fucking rum and cokes. I'm sitting on the airplane in a window seat, just blacked out, and my coach walks up to me. He goes, anyone sitting here? I will go, no.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm sitting on the plane with him, and I tried to like put headphones in and just look out the window. Yeah. And right as we take off, he taps me on the shoulder. He goes, what are you listening to?
No.
And I was
God.
like, Eminem. But for like, it was a connecting flight to Atlanta, and for the whatever hour and a half we're in the air, I'm blacked out, telling him like, yeah, I'm just gonna play scout, dude. Like, it's fine. Like, we're drawing up plays, doing all this stuff. And
wow.
And people have like videos of me just like, and he definitely knew I was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
it was like this. Had you just like reached that understanding with him that you were like this?
I think that's where it was. I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to call it giving up, but I was just like, I'm done trying to service this aspect of the team. I'm gonna do it in a different way. That actually, my coach ended up bodying me in film one time because we built a fire department when we were in Jacksonville. Like, so it got knocked down by like a hurricane or something. So
wait a minute. You built a fire department?
Yeah, we built like a firehouse.
Oh, like a firehouse.
Yeah,
like physically. Okay. I thought you meant like you went through the bureaucratic process of setting up a fire department.
That'd be hilarious. No, we drove into like the middle of nowhere. It was like almost these like Native American folks.
Okay.
We just built them a firehouse. And I remember when we were building it, I wasn't doing shit, dude. Like, so my coach comes up to me and I'm just holding the ladder. He goes, Ives, you helping? I'm like, I'm a ladder guy. And he kind of chuckles. Fast forward 2 weeks, we're in a film session. And I don't know, maybe I was like doing something on the field that was like, you know, I don't know what, I was probably helping in some way, not just playing offense. But he pauses it. He goes, you see this, guys? In front of the whole team. We need more guys like Ives. You know what Ives is? He's a ladder guy.
Wow.
And you know what a ladder guy does? He holds the ladder so other guys can succeed.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, he crushed me on that.
Wow.
Maybe that, I guess that's kind of, I was fucked up on Xanax and rum and cokes, so maybe I did deserve that. But yeah, just had to be a ladder guy.
Be a ladder guy.
To some degree, though, I talk about like, I was like a locker room guy, but I was a locker room guy trying to destroy the team. Like, I was like cheap shots in practice, talking. I remember one of my closest friends, he got so pissed. The day before we played Syracuse, I was lighting up our goalie, like our starting goalie, and I'm talking shit to him. I'm like, you can't save my shot. What are you gonna do against Syracuse? Like, doing all. And my one of the starters on the team was my closest friend. He was like, shut the fuck up.
Wow.
So like, I was doing stuff that was bad for the team as well.
Yeah. But it was right. It was because you were still dealing with that.
Yeah,
stuff.
because I was still pissed.
Right.
But yeah, ladder guy, he crushed me.
That's so good. That is incredible.
Holds the ladder so other guys can succeed.
Oh my God. It's a ladder guy. And you still play lacrosse now, you said, right?
Still do. I
Yeah.
love it. I play in the fall. I play
And
in
it's
the
become,
winter.
I think, this is the other thing too with comedy, is that I don't think enough, and I'm speculating, talking about myself mostly, but I don't think enough comedians have another outlet where it's just, because so much of what we do is, there's so much pressure and work, and I think a lot of times too the enjoyment factor can be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Again, at least for myself and you, for what we're talking about. So it must be really nice to, like, for a few hours a week, I'm sure, to be like, I'm doing this
it's
just
so
for
nice.
the sake to do it. Yeah.
Sometimes though I am envious of these like psychopaths who are just running 4 mics a day, and they're just like, I got nothing.
Yeah. No.
like I do not, like I just rip mics, and it's like these guys are just so one track minded, and it is nice. But like I always kind of come back. I don't know if do you know Jefferson Randall? He doesn't really do comedy anymore. He's this very funny, kind of absurdist comedian. And he's always been in and out of comedy. I was like, why don't you do comedy more? He was like, I don't want to spend my life in a dark comedy club.
Dude, that's
And he kept using golf as reference. He's like, I don't like golf, but like golfing would be nice. Like something just you're just outside. Like I don't want to spend my whole life just fucking trapped in this one thing. So I think like as important as it is to be one track with comedy and be like, this is what I'm doing, I think you always have to go bird's eye view though and be like, okay, but what really is important? Like to go back to what I was saying about like being near my family. Would it be nice to move to San Diego for a year and try comedy? Sure. But what is more important to me, being near my grandparents while they're alive or doing open mics in San Diego?
Dude, I just had that thought literally freaking yesterday, because I was like, I get in these fits where I have so much to do, and like, producing this and social media and stand-up and all that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to do everything. And then, I just like, I had a moment, I was out to dinner with my fiance and my dog last night, and I was like, oh, I matter here.
That's what's
You know
important.
what I mean? Like, this is, I don't know what stage is like next in our life, but it's like Maple, our dog, is like never going to be this old again. We're never going to be this old again. So it's like, to make time for that. Also, too, the other part is it's like you need shit to talk about on stage that's not comedy.
Yes.
People go to comedy shows. They do not want to hear about people talking about comedy unless you're like really, really good at whatever. Obviously, there's always that caveat. But like nobody fucking wants to hear about comedy. They want to hear about your life, who you are, right? So, obviously the grind is important. But the other thing is, too, that I've noticed is the biggest growth I've noticed happens over years, not in the necessarily the month to month, day to day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So it's like that Billy Joel song Vienna, where it's like he has like the line. It's like, take the phone off the hook and disappear. It's all right to lose a day or two.
Yeah.
Where it's like, don't stress if you're not doing. I had to hum that out, by the way. It's like you can lose a couple of days and you're gonna be fine. It's just like he's like, at the end of the day, what really matters? Like, would it be nice to be a successful stand-up comedian? Sure, but I'd rather have a family and be happy and
and have it fit into your life in a way. Yeah, and
I want to be like content in my life. I don't want to. Obviously, with comedy, you're constantly hunting down a goal, searching on the goal of how can I make money off of this, and that's super important. But I want to get to the point where I feel content in what I'm doing with my life.
Dude, Gabe Malika, who I love, he's the best. He said something to me. He actually said it on stage during a show, which I loved, and he just said, like, who makes it, quote unquote, that's not interesting. What's interesting is the work you're doing and the projects you're working on, right?
Yeah.
And like with your act in particular, I always love to see what you're working on.
Thank you.
Right? Of course, dude. And it's like that. Like, that is the stuff that matters. Yes, it would be nice, to your point, to be a successful comedian, to do this for a living, but it's like, and we come back to lacrosse. Maybe it's something where just the sake of doing it is enough.
It's just like, comedy has given me so much. Like when I moved into the city, I remember being so upset moving into my first apartment. I was just like, why the fuck am I here? I'm working a job I don't like. I don't even think I want to live in the city. And then it probably took me a year to start doing comedy. And it finally gave me an identity again.
Yes.
And I was, because like one thing, to go back to like that joke I said about the lacrosse thing, I would be able to walk into a bar and be like, I have an identity as this lacrosse player, and it's fulfilling. I feel happy. And I would walk into bars post-college before comedy being like, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no wonder, like I have nothing to offer right now.
Sure.
I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. And with comedy, it gave me something where I was like, no, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think what it is, I saw a quote a while ago online, was just like, the way to like have confidence and not have doubt in yourself is to like have stackable evidence to prove who you are.
Dude, yes.
And I think with comedy for a while, it was like maybe a year and a half where I was like, I'm stacking evidence right now.
Yeah,
this is
man.
who I am.
Dude, 100%. I keep a little note thing in my my notes app on my phone, little wins, micro wins throughout the day.
Really?
Dude, 100%. I just, my friend Liz Glazer is a hilarious comedian. She's on the Tonight Show. Go check her out. She just texted me. She's like, do you want to be in a sketch? Dude, that's a win.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm just like writing that stuff down. And then that way, to your point, when I get in these lulls, I can look back and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I had a great recording day with Alex today. I did all this stuff this year. Did my first road gig earlier this year. You know what I mean?
Really?
So it's like, yeah. So it's like, to have.
Do you ever do
all
like
that stuff.
tinier wins where it's just like went to the park?
I don't for that specific journal, but yes, I try to do more of that mentally because that is as important, I would argue.
Yeah.
To just be like, I went outside today, which in a post-COVID world is a win. So.
Yeah. Just like the little things to enjoy. It's like went to my parents.
Dude, exactly.
And got dinner.
I actually want to like, because we typically end on this where it's like if someone listening is going through something similar, right, where a sport was everything to them for most of their life, and then they had to kind of reintroduce and find themselves, what advice would you give to them?
You want me to look in?
I'm talking to you.
I would just say never give up. To quote Jim Valvano.
Who's that?
Come on,
Oh,
man.
no.
ESPYs, you remember?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I know the speech.
Every year
yes.
it's on SportsCenter.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it's just so true. And I think with lacrosse, there was maybe a year period where I gave up. And I think that'll always eat at me for giving up. And I just think to never give up doing what you like to do. If it's something you like doing, don't give up on it because then that's it. It's over.
Yeah, that's the... Yeah.
So if you... I would just say, find something you love to do and just beat it to a pulp. And don't compare yourself to other people because that'll kill you. I think we touched on that more than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it is simple and kind of cliche, but you're always going to have stuff that's working against you. You're always going to feel like you're not enough or, whatever self-doubt you might have, but the only way to outwork that self-doubt is to prove to yourself who you are and like I saw this Jim Carrey thing yesterday where he was just like failing is worth it. Where it's like he had this story about his dad where he's like, yeah, my dad, he wanted to be a comedian, but he took the safe route, and the safe route was working in insurance or doing whatever job.
Yeah.
Fast forward 15 years, he gets fired from the safe route. So you can take the safe route and still lose.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me too. That's always had. So it's like, I completely agree, dude. And the other thing is too, it's like I think failure is worth it, especially because, let's go back to, in the context of comedy, right? But this idea of making it, right? If you never make it, man, you still made great friends. I know you from comedy. I know a lot of other great, really wonderful comedians, and you'll still get stuff out of it.
It
just
develops you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It forces you to grow and to, so I think I agree with you.
Yeah, like if I never did comedy, sorry, Frank, I'd still be working with you, hating my life. Like, yeah, I work a shittier job now and I don't have as much money and I'm a little unsecure financially, but I'm way
Aren't we all?
Yeah, I'm way happier right now with less money than I did 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's
and I think it helped me find who I am. Would I like to be successful in it? Of course. But it's helping make me who I am. It's how, I don't think my girlfriend would have liked the 4-year-old version of me 4 years back. It's like, I think because I did comedy, I was putting myself on a track to meet people similar to my girlfriend and prove to my girlfriend who I am. And she, it just helps develop you. And obviously we would love to all be fucking touring and making a ton of money and going on the Joe Rogan podcast.
No, man, but
that's not the route for everyone.
No, and I really love, not to bring it up again, but like what Gabe said, man, it's about who you are and what you're doing. You know, it's to keep making interesting things and to, you know, because that's what you're doing. It's for the sake of making it.
Yeah, I just gotta say this before it ends. This has been unbelievably therapeutic.
Dude,
like,
this has
been a blast. I could talk about. I have 7 more hours of lacrosse to talk about. So spare you guys.
Dude,
I could literally do it all day.
Dude, we were talking before you should start your own podcast. Dude.
Oh, just nonstop lax.
Dude.
Corner the market with lacrosse comedians.
Alex, tell the people where they can find you.
My Instagram is Alex Ives _standing. You can see me at the Grizzly Pear Comedy Club every now and again. And yeah, that's really where you'll find me, man. I'll let you guys know when I'm at MetLife. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Matt. I love you. You're the best. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Dude, it's a blessing. You're one of the first guests I wanted to have on when I started this podcast. I'm so happy we finally made it work out.
At 1 and 1 talking about all this stuff. What was that? That was like a year and a half.
That was that long ago?
That was maybe even 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite chats. We got high after.
That was a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. We had such a great time. Dude, you're hilarious, man. Dude, you're the man. Dude.
A little sweaty, but thank you.
No, it's okay. I'm wiping on my clammy hands. And here's to hoping we left you a little higher.
Is that how you
end?
We
did it. Yeah, that's how we end. Yeah.